So guys, first thing first, let's address the elephant in the room. It overheats. Canon came forward, said it. Deal, that's done. We all knew it would happen. What's the fuss about it? It's just Canon's way of saying, see guys, we have the technology ready. If you want to use it, you have to find creative ways, but there doesn't exist a technology yet which can fit all which we are offering in such a compact body without even using an external fan or without increasing size of the body. So we know this, and practically not everybody needs 8K or not everybody needs 4K 120 fps at all the times. So we have to find creative ways to use this camera. So I'm glad I got it out of the way. Now let's move forward. This is a great camera to be start with. Hey guys, welcome again. So Canon has launched one of the best cameras, I would say mirrorless cameras that we have seen in recent times, and still for some reason people are not convinced completely that this is what it says it is. And before that, please don't forget to leave your subscribe and your comment. Thank you. Okay, so full disclaimer, I'm a Sony shooter and I have shot mostly on APS-C cameras. So I have used A6300, A6500, and let me tell you something, if it wasn't for Sony on these APS-C mirrorless bodies launching native 4K downsampled from 6K, it wouldn't have pushed the industry to advance even further. So when Sony 6300 was launched and I've used it, it had this problem of overheating because trust me, that small mirrorless body, it cannot sustain for long terms, and that's why bigger video cameras are for. And that's exactly what's happening today when Canon EOS R5 is launched. So what happens is that it is so capable, it's such a capable camera, the features are at this top-notch level that it's not able to sustain everything for long terms. So number one thing, its body size is not as huge and it doesn't have any external vents, fans as if most of the companies are going for. So it cannot cool itself while maintaining the same frame rate, same bit rate for long terms, which Canon came out upfront and told everyone about it. So if you see the specs, 45 megapixel sensor, 8K 12-bit raw shooting, 4K 120 frames per second, these are just crazy features. And trust me guys, not everyone, even I don't think so, even more than 2% of the people need these features right now, because if we talk about 8K, it will take at least 2 to 3 years in developed nations to transition from their 4K or even full HD TVs to 8K, and in developing nations at least 3 to 4 years. So I have few points mentioned so that I don't forget any of them. And the number one is I want to talk about being a Sony shooter. What I have seen that when some feature is introduced, it comes with its limitations. So even my A6500, it overheats and it shuts down when I'm shooting 4K for extended period in room temperature. So this camera, this Canon EOS R5 and even R6, they will have these limitations too. Now second thing, it comes with 20 frames per second of electronic shutter speed and 12 mechanical shutter. Don't this sound something similar to A9, which is the wildlife beast from Sony? It is true, but I am still doubting that it might not be able to cope up with longer shooting hours when you keep on shooting with 20 frames per second and maintaining the same level of focus details on flying birds coming in or going away as best as A9 Mark II or even A9 does. So that is something which we have to wait for real world scenario to see. And when I'm talking about real world, guys, one thing for sure, you don't have to hurry up because there will be enough people, and I'm pretty sure that you don't even need all what this camera is offering. Neither do I as of yet. So you have to just wait at least 3-4 months to see the real world usage, because as of now what you have seen, it's mostly about the ambassadors or few selected people in the YouTube community who have got their hands on this particular camera. So please wait for 4-5 months. Don't hurry up, don't sell all your other gears. You will come to know its limitations in real world usage. Now coming to the third point, it has higher megapixels, which is 45, which is good for photography, which is good for cropping, but still we have to not deviate from the fact that it will still come with high noise until unless there has been a breakthrough. So that's the reason a lot of negatives come from people that if it's a video centric camera, why so much megapixels, but for 8K you need that, right? So higher megapixel means a bit more noise than, let's say, 24 megapixel or even 12 megapixel, which A7S uses. Now coming to point number 4, why go with 45 megapixel? So see, for giving this 8K feature, even an intro to this 8K feature, they needed higher megapixel. They could not produce 8K with 24 megapixel. That's just basic science. So they needed 45 megapixels. Now this is the first time in industry we are seeing these 8K cameras popping up. So we don't even know for sure that if this is a limitation which you have to live with, that the amount of noise considering to this high resolution. So this is just the introduction in the industry. We will see in the later point of time that what camera manufacturers decide. Do they decide to continue with the same sensor size and increase the resolution like 8K, or they increase the size of sensor in near future because there is no breakthrough coming soon in camera sensor technology. So that is something which we have to see. This is almost the beginning of a new era in terms of high resolution video cameras. So we'll have to see. So for now, there is no industry standard defined. This is the amount of noise you might get in low light, but the quality coming out of 8K is amazing. I've seen those PTM Canon videos. Obviously they are shot in professional conditions like studio lights or well lit environment, to say the least, and then processed later, but the quality coming out of it 8K is amazing, and I don't see any reason you should bash this camera for that. So coming to the fifth point is that people have a lot of question that we didn't ask for 8K, we just needed a good focused and high frame rate of 4K. So that's true, 4K gets affected because I think it's still Sony A7S3 or whatever the camera might be will be going for lower resolution, lower megapixel, because it wants to maintain that quality level of 4K without giving too much of noise in its videos. So probably the 4K which is coming out of this camera versus the 4K which will be coming out of Sony's upcoming S series lineup, it will definitely perform better in low light. Now coming to the sixth point, and that is what I want to tell you guys from the very beginning, that this is a proof of concept that if you need something, we have the technology ready. It will be coming in a bigger cameras, but this is not aligned. Maybe it's not aligned to your workflow. You will not go around shooting 8K, trust me on that. Why? This is the point I want to talk about. It shoots around 2800, I think if I'm correct, or 1800 Mbps in 4K, 2800 in 12-bit RAW. You see, these calculations, all they mean one thing, that CF Express cards which you will be using for this, it will have 128GB, will have around less than 10 minutes of shooting time. Now do a calculation, you at least need 40 to 50 minutes of those correct takes, those correct shots, those proper final shots. And if you do the maths, you will need at least 4 to 5 CF Express cards, which takes your expenditure to again $1,000+ more, or if you are in India, at least 1 lakh. So you see all this calculation where it's going. You will have to spend a lot more to get those 8K. So that's what I'm saying, that 8K might not be your current workflow requirement. 7th point comes, which is overheating, and this has been the elephant in the room. Let's address that. This camera overheats is confirmed by even Canon, and it's not a concern anymore because they came out upfront, which I'm very glad, and that a company does that. When a company does that, and they said upfront, look guys, we have given you capabilities, but if you want to shoot 8K in this frame rate, this RAW or whatever, you'll get 10 minutes of shooting time, 8 minutes of shooting times, or if you want 4K 120 fps, let's say 15. These are not correct figures, but I will show you a chart here. So they have came out and said specifically that these are the limitations of this camera, and then you have to let it cool down so that you can start shooting again. So you see what's happening here. The shift in resolution which we are progressing, it kind of is different from our current workflow. As of now, we can put in 128GB of memory card, and we can take multiple takes, multiple shots in our usual, let's say 4K 30 or even 4K 60 if it's not too high of a bitrate. But if you want the extreme quality this camera is ready to offer, if you want the best of what this camera is giving you, you need to have a lot of patience with shooting because it will overheat. You will need to have a lot of patience in budget because you will need a lot of cards. If you are shooting on 4K 120 fps or 8K, then you will need to have a lot more patience because it will overheat, or you will need to have a lot of memory cards also, until someone else is just sitting there moving all that files to external SSD cards, or you are using an external monitor, external recorder. And they went ahead saying that you might have to use an external fan to cool this down. And this is true, guys, you cannot deviate from physics. Desktops still are better when it comes to thermals than compared to laptops, even I don't know what, 20-30 years later when they were first introduced. So this is something which we are advancing, but it's not perfect as of yet. Maybe down the line, next Canon R5, R4, R3, whatever comes up, it might be better, it might have resolved these issues, but as of yet you will have to live with the expectation and find your creative way out to get those cool ideas you have in your mind in higher resolutions or in slower frame rates in 4K if you want. Just one more point I left here is that it shoots in 265 codec if you want, and that's a very good codec when it comes to quality, but it's very intensive, very heavy on your editing software. Even I think I was shooting on GoPro Hero 8, it shoots, if I'm correct, at 265, and I feel the editing choppy. I might be wrong here, please let me know, but 265 H265 is kind of a system heavy. You might need to take proxies and all to edit your videos, but it increases your time for your editing process. So if you are a bird photographer or wildlife photographer, you might think that this is the perfect camera I would need, and you are correct, because this gives you 20 frames per second. Not sure how much good of a focusing or your keeper shots it would be, but it does give you 20 frames per second with continuous autofocus. And this is a perfect camera when it comes to features, but it might not be practical for those practical scenarios, because when you are shooting birds, you are shooting animals, you are waiting for that precise moment when they will fly, when they will feed, when they will attack another prey and all, and for that you have to keep shooting for long terms, and it will overheat and give up on you. So see, these are the limitations it comes with, and we have to find creative way rather than just bashing a product. Because see, if this camera, this Canon R5 has given you that technological advancement, it has also pushed the industry to give you more, and it has also pushed Sony to wait and see what they are about to release, think about it again, and then release that rather than just releasing anything. Because we have been expecting a lot from Sony from quite some time, and they are not delivering so far what people are asking in terms of video. So this is something which pushes the boundary of imaging industry, and it helps consumers at the end of the day. So guys, that was all I had for this camera introduction. I know people are bashing this camera, not, but you shouldn't, because this is how the way works. Something gets introduced as a first generation, comes with its own advantages and disadvantages, which gets resolved in later. But at this price point, or this size of the body, this compact feel, and the benefits it gives you for traveling and everything, you will not get everything compared to what you can get from a cinema camera with the same features, because obviously they are bigger. And do I need all the features in this camera as of yet? No. And probably I'm guessing that Sony will soon launch A7 IV with somewhere around 60-65% of the features this camera has, which will be more than enough for me. So if you are a Canon shooter, if you have the money, you should not think about buying this camera, but still at least wait for 3-4 months until as the real world reviews comes out. And given this pandemic situation, I don't think so any specific reason anyone needs to hurry to buy this camera. So guys, that's all I had for today. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any queries, and I might be wrong here and there. Please let me know those things also, correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. After all, we are all trying to educate each other, we are all trying to spread information. So with that in mind, thank you guys for watching. Please leave your subscribe. See you again. See you soon. Bye.